Romance of Sui and Tang Dynasties, Chapter 82.
On the surface, it's a historical story, Tang Dynasty.
Right.
But underneath, it's really a story about HR disasters, the limits of standardized testing, and, that one guy,
We all know him.
we all know, the one who's totally unmanageable, but he's the only person who can fix the server when the whole system goes down.
Exactly. The consultant from hell who ends up saving the day. We are talking about the legend Li Bai.
Mm-hmm.
Now, usually when people hear Li Bai, they think, drunken poet staring at the moon. But today, we're looking at Li Bai, the problem solver.
The fixer. And the stakes couldn't have been higher. To really get why this one moment is so critical, we have to set the scene.
Let's do it.
We're in the Kaiyuan era of the Tang Dynasty. This is the absolute peak, the golden age.
The peaceful and prosperous era, as they called it.
Precisely. So Emperor Xuanzang, who you might also see called Ming Huang, he's on the throne. The borders are totally secure, the treasury is full, and the court is it's swimming in luxury.
So the emperor is living his best life. He's got the hubris, dialed up to 11.
Completely. The source material says officials from all over are just sending endless tributes. We're talking strange beasts, rare gems, all sorts of things.
He thinks the whole world exists just to send him birthday presents.
He feels like the center of the universe. He's comfortable. Maybe a little too comfortable. And right into this atmosphere of extreme self-congratulation walks an envoy.
From the Bohai Kingdom.
Yes, from the Bohai Kingdom.
Bohai is a state up to the northeast, bordering Korea, Manchuria. Usually they're a vassal state, right? They're supposed to be from...
Supposed to be. But this envoy, he breaks the script immediately. He doesn't show up with a huge caravan of gifts. He walks into the Hall of Golden Bells with nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing but a single sealed document. A state letter.
Wow. That is a massive power move. It's like showing up to a wedding without a gift, but you hand the groom a subpoena instead.
It creates this immediate tension. The Emperor Xuanzang, he's just confused. He's probably thinking, okay, maybe the gifts are on the way.
This is just the packing list.
Right. So he assigns his vice director, a guy named He Zizheng, to host the envoy. But when they ask the envoy for details, the guy is just a stone wall.
He gives them the silent treatment.
Even worse. He says, and I'm paraphrasing, I won't speak, the letter says everything. Once the emperor opens it, he'll understand.
Ominous. It's a read it and weep situation.
Totally. So, fast forward to the court session. The emperor's on the dragon throne. You've got hundreds of officials all lined up. The letter is presented.
And who gets the unlucky job of opening this thing?
That falls to the official on duty, a man named Xiaoling. And honestly, this is just a nightmare scenario for any middle manager.
I can imagine.
Xiaoling breaks the seal, he unfolds the paper, clears his throat to read it out loud, and just freezes.
Dead silence.
Total dead silence.
The source material describes the writing in a really specific way, doesn't it? It says it was neither grass script, nor clerical, nor seal script.
It does. It describes the characters as looking like tadpoles. Just completely alien. And Xiaoling is staring at this paper, sweating, and the emperor is just waiting.
Oh, the pressure.
Finally, Xiaoling has to get on his knees and just admit, Your Majesty, I'm a fool. I do not recognize these characters.
Now, a good leader might say, hey, no problem, it's a foreign language, let's find an expert. But Xiaozong, he chooses violence.
He absolutely roasts him. And it's personal. The emperor brings up a mistake from years ago. He says something like, I heard you once misread Fula as Fuli in one of our own documents. You can barely read your own language. How could you possibly know a foreign one?
That is so petty. Remember that typo from 2018? This is why you're failing now? It just shows the emperor's already on edge.
He feels the humiliation in the room, so he escalates. He takes the letter and passes it to the heavy hitters.
The prime minister, Li Linfu,
and the other powerful politician, Yang Guozong. These are the men who run the entire empire. They're supposed to be the smartest guys in the room.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. But the text describes them as blind men with open eyes. They're just passing the letter back and forth. They turn it upside down. Nothing. It is just shapes to them.
This is where I think the story gets really insightful about, systemic failure.
Go on.
You have an administration that's filled with people who pass these incredibly difficult civil service exams. They're experts in Confucian classics, they know the bureaucracy, but you face them with an out-of-context problem, and the whole system just shorts out.
That's it, exactly. The system selects for a certain kind of knowledge, not for, lateral thinking or obscure skills. The emperor realizes this, and pure panic sets in. He shows it to the entire court. Hundreds of officials.
Nobody.
Not one person can read a single word.
The mood in that room must have just plummeted from confusion to pure terror. Because this isn't just about reading a letter anymore.
No, it's about national security. It's about face.
Right.
The emperor just explodes. He shouts, "A dignified celestial empire mocked by a small state." He knows if they can't read the letter, they can't reply. And if they can't reply, Bohai will know the Tang court is, well, intellectually toothless.
So he issues an ultimatum. And it is extreme.
Draconian is the word, he declares.
Yeah.
If this letter isn't deciphered and answered within 3 days, every official in this court, big or small, will be stripped of their rank and fired.
He's going to fire the entire government.
Everyone. The nuclear option.
Talk about a toxic work environment.
Yeah.
So everyone leaves, terrified. And the story focuses back on Hezianga, the guy who's supposed to be hosting the envoy.
He's just distraught. He goes back to the guest house. He sees the Bohai envoy, but he can't even speak to him. He just goes to his own rooms, probably thinking his entire life is over.
But, as luck would have it, he has a house guest.
Enter the legend.
So, for our listeners who might not know the backstory here, we think of Li Bai as this huge, ethereal genius. But at this point in the story, he's introduced as just a commoner, a cloth-gowned scholar, no rank.
And that's crucial. He is outside the system. He's just staying at Hezizang's house as a friend. He sees his host looking totally depressed and asks him what's wrong.
And Hezizang lays it all out for him. The tadpole script, the emperor's rage, the 3-day countdown.
And Li Bai doesn't panic at all.
No.
No. He smirks. He basically says, "Oh, foreign scripts. That's easy. I could do that in my sleep."
But then he twists the knife a little bit.
Yeah.
He doesn't just volunteer to help.
He does not. He says something like, "Pity I'm not a court official, so I can only look at it. I don't have any standing to speak."
I love that. It's so passive-aggressive, but with such a sharp point. He's reminding him, remember how your whole system rejected me.
It's the politics of talent we mentioned. Li Bai had tried to take the exams before, but he was filtered out by the bureaucracy.
So Hezizang sees a lifeline. He rushes to the emperor the next morning. He says, I have a guy.
He tells the emperor, "There is a scholar from West Shu named Li Bai. He is a genius. He can read this." The emperor is so desperate, he immediately sends an usher to go get Li Bai.
And this is where Li Bai just plays the game beautifully. He doesn't just come running.
No, he refuses the summon.
He refuses the emperor. That's incredibly risky.
It is. He tells the usher, "I'm just a lowly scholar. My knowledge wasn't good enough for your examiners last year. They kicked me out. So how can I have the face to see the emperor now? I'm just a reject."
He's holding the entire bureaucracy hostage. He's saying, if you want my brain now, you have to admit you were wrong to exclude me in the first place.
Exactly. Zisong has to go back and explain all this to the emperor. He says, "Your Majesty, it's not arrogance." He's pointing out that the gatekeepers, the corrupt officials, are the ones who kept him out.
So the emperor realizes he has to woo him. You can't just command him like a servant.
Right. Zizong advises that if they want his help, they have to treat him with the dignity of a high official. Invite him properly.
And of course, the villains of the story, Yang Gusong and Uniga Delichit, they are not happy about this.
They are furious. They try to slander Li Bai, calling him a drunk, a nobody. But the situation is just too dire. And interestingly, a bunch of other officials speak up for him. The Prince of Riyang, the poet Du Fu, they all jump in and say, "No, listen to Hezang. Li Bai is the real deal."
The peer review kicks in.
And the emperor caves. He grants Li Bai a 5th-rank robe purple silk, a gold belt, and formally invites him to court.
So Li Bai puts on the robes, he walks into the hall, and the source says he looks, well, magnificent.
Like an immortal banished from heaven. He just has that star power. The emperor is immediately charmed. He actually comes down from the throne to greet him, which is a huge deal.
The hidden genius is now center stage. He's got the robes, he's got the audience. Now he just has to deliver. The emperor hands him the letter.
Li Bai takes one look at it, one glance, and he says, "This is the script of the Bohai kingdom."
Just like that, after the officials were staring at it for hours.
Just like that.
Yeah.
But, and this is brilliant, before he translates, he points out something that everyone else missed. He explains the diplomatic insult.
This is the detail I found fascinating. It wasn't just that the script was hard to read.
No. Li Bai explains that according to established protocol, when a vassal state sends a letter, they have to include a Chinese translation alongside their native script.
So sending only the Bohai script
Was a deliberate trap. It was, in Li Bai's words, the height of rudeness. It was a test to see if the Tang court had anyone smart enough to even know they were being insulted.
So the fact that the prime minister couldn't read it wasn't just bad luck. It was exactly what Bohai wanted. They walked right into it.
Until Li Bai showed up.
Okay, so let's get to the meat of it. What does this terrifying letter actually say? Li Bai is standing there in front of the silent court, and he starts reading.
He translates it into standard Tang pronunciation. It's from the great Kedu, the king of Bohai, and it is aggressive. It starts by accusing the Tang of encroaching on their borders, specifically in the old Goguryeo lands in Korea.
A classic territorial dispute.
But then comes the demand. The letter demands that the Tang Empire cede 176 cities and fortresses to Bohai.
176 cities, that's not a border adjustment, that's a conquest.
It's a massive demand, but here's the part that I just love, and it's where the source gets very, very specific. The Bohai king proposes a trade. Yes. He says, if you give us these 176 cities, we will give you the following items in return. And then Li Bai reads out the list.
I have the list here. It is just bizarre. It feels like a prank call.
It's an incredibly strange grocery list.
Okay, let's run through a few. They're offering rabbits from Taibai Mountain,
A strong start. Who doesn't need rabbits?
kelp from the South Sea,
Diplomatic kelp. Very rare.
drums from Zhacheng, beer from Fuyu, pigs from Jialing,
And we can't forget the carp from the Mechuo River.
plums from Judu, pears from Leiyu. Literally sounds like a farmer's market basket.
It does. And that is the entire insult. He's saying, give me 176 of your fortified cities, and in return, I will give you some fish, some pork, and a few pears.
It's mocking the entire tribute system. Usually China gives valuable goods and gets symbolic gifts back. Bohai is flipping the script. They're offering the symbolic junk and demanding the actual land.
It's like a fantasy football trade where I offer you my backup kicker for your star quarterback. It's not a real trade, it's a provocation.
And the letter doesn't end with, sincerely, I take it.
No. Li Bai reads the final line. If you refuse, we will raise troops and see who wins and who loses.
War.
A formal declaration of war.
So Li Bai finishes reading. The court is dead silent again. What's the feeling in the room now?
It's a complex mix. On one hand, you have massive relief. The mystery is solved. The emperor doesn't have to fire everybody. They know what they're dealing with.
But on the other hand.
Terror. Because they've just been told an army is about to come and take their cities.
But the immediate crisis, the humiliation of silence, is over.
Yes. The blind court can now see.
And this is not just a story about a letter.
No. This is a masterclass in psychological warfare, in soft power, and I'm calling it the greatest office politics power move in recorded literature.
It really is. And the protagonist is someone most people only know as Li Bai. But this source gives us a totally different Li Bai. Here, he's a diplomat, a strategist.
And a man who understands that in high-stakes politics, perception is often more lethal than an army.
One man, armed with basically a paintbrush and a massive ego, saved an empire from invasion.
So let's set the stage a little more. The Tang dynasty, it's usually presented as this invincible monolith. What's going on with this neighbor, the Bohai kingdom? Why are they suddenly a threat?
So the Bohai kingdom sat in what is today Manchuria, the Russian Far East, and parts of North Korea.
Okay.
And in the Tang worldview, they're a tributary state. They're the little brother. They acknowledge China's superiority. But in this chapter, that dynamic is flipped.
They've sensed weakness.
They smell blood in the water. Precisely. They send an envoy with a letter written in these, quote, bird tracks and seal scripts.
It's a foreign script.
A foreign script that the Tang officials, men who have spent their entire lives studying for exams to prove they are the smartest men in the room, simply cannot decipher.
I want to pause on that because it seems like such a specific detail. Why does it matter that they can't read it? Couldn't they just, find a translator?
It's about what the ignorance represents. It's so much deeper than just translation. The Tang claims to be the center of civilization.
Right.
The emperor is supposed to encompass all knowledge. So by sending a letter in a script the court doesn't know, the Bohai are proving a point before it's even read.
They're saying, you don't know us.
You don't understand the world anymore. Your information dominance is gone.
That's a test.
It's a probe. If you can't even read the challenge, you've already lost the first round. It signals that the Tang are isolated and may be ripe for invasion. And the emperor knows this. He is furious. He looks at his court and basically asks, what is the point of any of you?
That is a performance review you do not want to be a part of.
Not at all.
So the court is paralyzed. And this is where the infighting starts. Before Li Bai even shows up, we get this fascinating breakdown of how the ministers react. It felt very modern to me, like a bad cabinet meeting.
It is a classic breakdown of foreign policy archetypes. You get the hawk, the dove, and the realist.
Okay, let's break those down. The hawk is Li Linfu.
Right. Li Linfu is the hardliner. He looks at the letter, can't read it, mind you, and says, it's a bluff. These are barbarians. Their military can't compare to us.
His advice is knee-jerk.
Totally. Lock down the borders, prepare a punitive expedition. Attack first, ask questions later.
Which, feels emotionally satisfying, but it's pretty dangerous if you don't actually know what the enemy's capable of.
Exactly. And that brings us to Yang Guzong, the prime minister. He takes the opposite approach. He's the dove.
Or maybe the appeaser.
Appeaser's a better term, yeah. He argues for abandonment. He says the territory in question, the old Goguryeo lands, is outside the reach of the whip.
Meaning it's just too far away to control.
Exactly. A waste of blood and treasure. He suggests they just abandon a few border cities, pull back, and defend the interior.
Trade land for peace. Which sounds reasonable until you realize you're telling the emperor to voluntarily shrink the empire. I mean, what a terrible precedent.
It's a slippery slope. If you give up one city, why not two? And that's where the third voice comes in. Wang Zongzi. He's the traditionalist, the realist.
I liked his take.
He reminds the emperor of the sunk cost. He brings up the ancestors, Emperor Taizong, General Yue Rangri, who fought dozens of battles to secure that very dirt.
Our grandfathers bled for this.
But he also admits a hard truth. The Tang's been at peace for too long. The soldiers are soft. The generals are politicians. He says, don't give it up, but don't underestimate them, because we are not the army we used to be.
So the emperor is stuck. You have start a war we might lose, surrender territory and look weak, or, well, do nothing. Total paralysis.
And that paralysis is exactly what the Bohai Kingdom was banking on.
Enter Li Bai. He walks in, takes one look at this indecipherable letter, and reads it fluently.
This is the turning point. Li Bai is a cosmopolitan. He's traveled. He's not stuck in the capital bubble. He translates the letter, and it confirms everyone's worst fears. And the emperor turns to Li Bai, almost desperate, and asks for a solution. Now, you'd expect a military strategy here, right? Move this division, that kind of thing.
But Li Bai goes purely psychological. He doesn't talk about troops at all.
Right. He diagnoses the problem not as a military deficit, but a psychological one. He tells the emperor the Bohai king is just using arrogant words to test them.
So if the Tang panics,
The invasion starts. If they project absolute crushing dominance, the Bohai will back down.
it's a high-stakes game of chicken.
And Li Bai's countermove is just genius. He says, I will draft a reply face-to-face with the envoy tomorrow. But here's the hook. He promises to write the official reply in Chinese, but he will also provide a translated copy in the Bohai script.
Wait, I want to make sure I get the significance of that. Why write it in their language? Is that just a courtesy?
Oh, absolutely not. It's a flex.
Okay.
It's a massive flex. Remember, an hour ago, the entire Tang court supposedly couldn't read a word of this language.
Right.
By writing a fluent reply in the Bohai script, Li Bai is signaling total informational dominance. He's saying, we know your language better than you do. There are no secrets from us. We were just pretending not to know.
That is incredible. It flips their own weapon right back at them. You thought you had a code. Actually, we have the key.
It intimidates their hearts, as the text says. And he backs this up by listing all these different titles for rulers. Khans, Zanpus, Zaos. He's showing the court that he speaks the languages of power across the entire continent.
The emperor loves this. He appoints Li Bai as a Hanlin academician right on the spot. He's suddenly the rock star of the court.
Yeah.
But this is where the story takes a turn that I found absolutely wild.
Mm-hmm.
Li Bai has the job. He has the emperor's trust. But before he writes the letter, he makes some demands.
This is the famous boots and ink scene. It is the defining moment of Li Bai's character in folklore. It's the moment where the poet becomes more powerful than the politician.
Okay, so the next morning, the envoy is waiting. The court is packed. Li Bai walks in, purple robe, goldfish pendant, looking like an immortal, and then he just stops. He looks down at his feet.
He tells the emperor, my boots are dirty. I can't possibly perform this great task with dirty boots.
And he doesn't ask a servant to help him. He asks for Gao Lishi.
And we really need to contextualize Gao Lishi. He's not just a servant, he's the chief eunuch.
Which means?
In the Tang system, he is arguably the second most powerful man in the empire. He controls access to the emperor. Generals bow to him. He can make or break careers with a whisper.
And Li Bai says, hey, you, Pull my boots off.
It is a death sentence in any other context. It's an unimaginable breach of protocol. It would be like asking the chief of staff to tie your shoelaces on live television.
And then he doubles down.
He does. He says he isn't in high spirits because he sees his enemies in the room. He points to Yang Guozhong,
The prime minister, the guy who wanted to surrender the land.
the head of the civil government. And Li Bai says, I need him to grind my ink.
It's pure humiliation.
Pure and simple. Li Bai had a history with these men. They had slighted him during his exams years before. He is settling a personal score on the grandest stage imaginable.
But how does he get away with it? Why does the emperor agree to humiliate his own top officials?
Desperation is a big part of it. The emperor is terrified of this war. But Li Bai also frames it as statecraft. He tells the emperor, if I treat the most powerful men in your empire like my servants, the foreign envoy will see it. He'll see that even your highest officials are nothing compared to the scholar writing this letter. It will terrify him.
That is actually a brilliant cover story. I'm not being petty, Your Highness. I'm establishing dominance for the state.
Exactly. It's the ultimate power move. Just visualize the tableau. Li Bai is sitting on a brocade stool wearing the emperor's own cloud-patterned red shoes. You have the prime minister of the Tang dynasty grinding an ink stick, sweating with rage. You have the chief eunuch holding Li Bai's dirty boots. And Li Bai is just sitting there, calm as a lake.
And if you're the Bohai envoy watching this, what is going through your head?
You are absolutely terrified. You're thinking, who is this man? If the people who run the empire are acting as his personal servants, this man must be a god. It shatters the envoy's confidence before Li Bai even writes a single character.
The psychological warfare has already worked. Okay, so now the letter itself. Li Bai picks up the brush and the source says his hand did not stop moving. He writes two versions. You've looked at the translation. Is this standard diplomatic speak?
Oh, far from it. It is a masterpiece of intimidation. He starts with grandeur, reminds the Bohai king that the Tang rules the four seas, but he gets specific to prove it. He lists the tributes they receive. He mentions talking birds from India.
Talking birds.
Parrots, or mynas, most likely, and snake-catching snakes from Persia.
Snake-catching snakes? What is that?
Probably a reference to mongooses or a specific reptile trait.
Yeah.
But the point isn't the animals, it's the reach. He's painting a picture of a court that possesses the wonders of the entire known world. He's saying, we control nature itself. We have things you've never even dreamed of.
And then he pivots to history.
Right. He brings up Jili Khan, a powerful Turkic leader who defied the Tang and ended up captured, dancing for the emperor in chains. He brings up the destruction of the original Goguryeo kingdom.
He's telling the Bohai king, look at the history books. Everyone who tries what you're trying ends up dead or in chains.
It's a very clear warning. Don't become a footnote. Then he gets personal. He compares the entire Bohai kingdom to just one county in China.
Ouch.
And then he uses two specific insults that are just devastating in this culture. He calls the king a mantis trying to stop a chariot.
That's a classic idiom, right?
Yes. It implies arrogance and complete futility. The mantis raises its arms to stop the wheel, but it's just going to get crushed. It's pathetic. It frames the king not as a brave warrior, but as a bug. And he calls him a goose, implying he's ignorant, blind to the hawk circling above.
And the ultimatum.
If the heavenly army attacks, jade and stone will burn together. Total destruction. No survivors.
But the icing on the cake is that meta message we talked about.
Yes. The letter explicitly states, I am replying in your own script because you live in a desolate place and probably haven't seen Chinese characters.
Wow. I'm dumbing this down for you because you're uneducated.
It frames their own cultural identity as a sign of backwardness. It turns their language into a weapon against them. It is the diplomat's equivalent of a mic drop. He is insulting them by accommodating them.
So Li Bai finishes the letter, reads it aloud in a booming voice.
Okay.
How does the envoy take it?
He crumbles. The text says he is trembling, kneeling on the floor, afraid to even look up. He just takes the letter and scampers out of the palace.
And on his way out, he asks another official, He Zizang, who on earth was that guy? The one who made the prime minister grind his ink.
And He Zizeng gives the perfect answer. He says, that isn't a mere mortal official. That is a banished immortal from the heavens.
A banished immortal, that just seals it. The envoy goes back to Bohai, shows the letter to his king, the Kidu, and what happens?
The king reads it. He sees the copy in his own script, which just confirms the Tang's supernatural reach. And he panics. He tells his ministers, the Tang dynasty has divine help. How can we possibly fight them?
So he folds.
Immediately. He writes a surrender letter, agrees to continue paying tribute, and promises never to rebel again. No war, no invasion, no lost cities.
And that famous couplet, "Jade and silk moved without weapons. One piece of paper was better than 100,000 troops."
It's a compelling conclusion. It validates the idea that Li Bai didn't change the number of soldiers that the Tang had. He didn't fix the treasury, he just changed the perception of power. By acting invincible, he made the empire invincible. Okay, let's shift scenes.
What is the vibe at Emperor Xuanzong's court?
I mean, you have to imagine the absolute height of culture and wealth. The Silk Road is open, Chang'an is the biggest city in the world, and the emperor, Xuanzong, is obsessed with the arts. He's not just a patron, he's a musician himself. And he absolutely adores Li Bai.
Right, the source material mentions that the emperor treats Li Bai differently than anyone else.
Oh, completely. Usually officials have to kneel, bow, follow all this strict protocol, but Li Bai has established himself as this wandering idler.
Right, he's refused regular government jobs.
Exactly. He explicitly compares himself to these eccentric wits of the past, basically telling the emperor, look, I'm not here to push paper, I'm here to be a genius.
And the emperor buys it.
He loves it. He gives Li Bai access to the upper direction, premium wines, the good stuff, the stuff reserved for the inner circle, and lets him roam the palace freely.
Li Bai is living the dream.
He absolutely is.
Okay, so keep that special status in mind. Now, let's zoom in on this specific day in question. It's late spring, maybe early summer. The location is the Pavilion of Agarwood, or Chengxiangting.
Just the name Pavilion of Agarwood tells you about the opulence. Agarwood is incredibly expensive, known for its fragrance.
So it smells amazing.
It smells amazing. And the emperor is there with his favorite consort, the legendary Yang Gufei.
The power couple of the century. And they aren't just hanging out. They are admiring a tribute that just arrived.
Yes, peonies. But not just any peonies. These are xiaoyao, or botanically mudan, sent all the way from Yangzhou. The text describes them vividly. Massive blooms in deep red, purple, pale yellow, and pure white.
And they've been planted right there, just for this moment.
East of the Xingqing Pond, specifically for this viewing.
So you have the fragrance of the wood, the colors of the flowers, the water of the pond. It's a sensory overload. And the emperor turns to Yang Guifei and says something that I think is really important for what happens later.
He does. He looks at the flowers, then looks at her, and says the flowers are beautiful, but they can't speak. He calls her his flower that understands language.
That is smooth.
It is, but it's also a heavy designation. He's placing her above the natural world because she offers, intellectual and emotional companionship. She is the conscious beauty.
So the mood is romantic, it's perfect, and then the court musician, Li Gaginian, shows up with the Pear Garden Orchestra. For those who don't know, what is the Pear Garden?
Think of the Pear Garden as like the Gillard of the Tang Dynasty, but exclusively for the emperor. They are the absolute best musicians in the empire.
Right. And they show up ready to play the standard court hits.
And the emperor just shuts them down. He literally stops the band.
What does he say?
He says, "We are looking at famous flowers. How can we listen to old music?"
I love that. It's like, don't play me the top 40. This moment is too unique for a rerun.
Precisely. He demands a custom soundtrack. He wants lyrics written right now about these flowers and this woman.
And he knows there is only one person in the empire who can pull that off instantly.
Li Bai.
Li Bai.
So the emperor orders the head musician, Li Ginian, to go find him. And to show the urgency, he tells Li Ginian to take the emperor's own horse, the Jade Flower Piebald.
Taking the emperor's horse is a huge deal. That's like the president tossing you the keys to the beast and saying, go get him.
Exactly.
So this triggers scene 2, the hunt. I'm assuming Li Bai is hard at work in his office at the Hanlin Academy.
You would assume wrong. When Li Ginian gallops up to the academy, the staff basically shrugs.
No way.
They tell him, "Oh, Li Bai. He left this morning in plain clothes. He said something about finding wine."
Of course he did. So now the royal musician is riding the emperor's horse through the markets of Qingyuan, looking for the most famous poet in China.
And he finds him. Eventually, they hear loud singing coming from the second floor of a random tavern. And the scene they find is, well, it's peak Li Bai.
Describe it for us.
I mean, he is absolutely wasted. The text says he's singing about how 3 cups connect to the great Tao.
So he's deep in it.
Oh, completely. He's got a hydrangea flower stuck in a vase. He's drinking alone, and he is just in another dimension.
You know, when we say drunk today, we usually mean sloppy. But in Tang culture, wasn't there a different connotation?
That's a great point. Yes, in the context of the High Tang, drunkenness, especially for a poet or scholar, wasn't just a vice. It was seen as a way to break free from social constraints, to access the Tao, or the natural flow of the universe.
So there's almost a performance.
It was almost a spiritual performance of being unfettered.
Which explains his reaction when the police, or rather the musicians, show up. Li Winian bursts in shouting, "Imperial decree! The emperor summons you!"
Right. And Li Bai doesn't panic. He actually argues with them.
He does more than argue. He quotes poetry at them.
He says, "I'm drunk and want to sleep. You go away."
Wait, is he just making that up, or is he quoting someone?
He's quoting Tao Yuanming, the ultimate hermit poet from centuries earlier. It's a massive flex.
Wow.
He's basically saying, I am a sage recluse, and your imperial decree is ruining my vibe.
That is incredibly bold. But the musicians are not having it.
No, they are terrified of the emperor. They don't have time for philosophy. The text describes this chaotic scene where the musicians and servants just swarm him. They physically drag him downstairs.
And hoist him onto the horse.
And hoist him onto the emperor's horse.
And he's so out of it, they can't even dress him properly.
They try to put his official robes on him while he's swaying in the saddle, but they can't even button the collar. So he's riding through the palace gates on the emperor's horse, unbuttoned, disheveled, and probably smelling like a brewery.
Scene 3, the arrival. This is the part that really surprised me. In almost any other context, showing up to work like this in front of the Son of Heaven gets you beheaded.
Without a doubt, it's a death sentence. Disrespecting the imperial presence is the ultimate crime. And Li Bai arrives at the pavilion of Agarwood.
And he can't even bow.
He's too drunk to even bow. He just stands there swaying.
The emperor, he doesn't get mad.
No. Xuanzang's reaction is fascinating. He treats Li Bai like a fragile artifact. He orders a purple carpet to be rolled out so Li Bai can lie down and sleep right there next to the party.
And then there's the detail about the robe.
Yes. The emperor takes off his own royal robe to cover Li Bai. And then, and this is the detail that really shows the level of intimacy here, the emperor personally wipes the drool off Li Bai's face.
That is wild. The emperor touching someone's drool, that breaks every rule of hierarchy.
It does. It shows that Xuanzang viewed Li Bai as a transcendental, someone who existed outside the normal laws of man. But despite the love, they still have a problem.
Right. The music stopped.
The emperor needs lyrics, and his lyricist is passed out on a purple carpet.
So they go into triage mode.
Yang Guifei suggests cold water. The singer Nianu actually sprays water from her mouth onto Li Bai's face to shock him awake.
And when he finally opens his eyes, the emperor orders soup. But not just any soup.
Sobering soup. Specifically, a broth made from fresh fish sent as tribute from the state of Yu. And here we get another incredible moment of intimacy. The soup arrives, but the emperor thinks it's too hot.
Don't tell me he blows on it.
Close. He takes his own ivory chopsticks and stirs the soup to cool it down, and then personally feeds it to Li Bai.
Okay, that's the peak. You have the most powerful man in the world stirring fish soup for a hungover poet. If I'm Li Bai and I wake up to this, I'm terrified.
And he is. He snaps out of it. He sees the emperor nursing him, and he starts banging his head on the floor, apologizing for being wild and rude, begging for death.
But the emperor just hands him a brush.
Right. He says, I didn't bring you here to scold you. I brought you here because the peonies are blooming. He points to the flowers and says, new lyrics, now.
This is the high wire act. Li Bai is still wet from the water spray, belly full of fish soup, head pounding. Most people would vomit.
Li Bai enters the flow state.
This is where the legend is made.
He doesn't pause. He holds the brush and the characters just pour out. This is the first of the King Ping Diao poems.
Clouds think of clothes, flowers think of looks.
It's brilliant imagery. He immediately connects the clouds to her gown and the flowers to her face. He brings in the Jade Mountain and the Yao Terrace mythical homes of immortals. He's elevating the entire garden party into a celestial event.
And the emperor loves it. He loves it so much he decides to join the band.
This is my favorite visual. The emperor organizes an impromptu supergroup. You have Li Mo on the flute, Huanu on drums, He Huaizi on chimes, Zheng Guanyin on the pipa,
And the lead flutist.
Empress Huanzong himself playing the jade flute.
That is a high-stakes jam session.
Yeah.
So they play the first song, it's a smash hit. The emperor asks for an encore, write another one, and Li Bai asks for a drink.
He says, wine thirst thinks of swallowing the sea. He claims his muse is thirsty. So the emperor gives him this massive gold cup of Western Liang grape wine.
Western Liang wine, that's significant, right?
Very. It's exotic, brought via the Silk Road. It's sweet and potent. Li Bai downs the whole cup in one go.
And fueled by that grape wine, he writes the second poem. And this is the moment, the pivot point of his life.
It is. The poem itself is glorious. He writes about red fragrance and dew, but then he tries to pay Yang Guifei the ultimate compliment. He asks as a rhetorical question, in the Han Palace, who is similar, poor Feian relying on new makeup.
Poor Feian. He's referring to Zhao Feian. Who was she?
Zhao Feian was a legendary empress from the Han Dynasty, famous for her incredible beauty and dance skills. By saying poor Feian, Li Bai is saying, even the most famous beauty of history needed makeup to look this good, whereas you, Yang Guifei, are naturally stunning.
Okay, so at face value, it's a slam dunk compliment. You're better than the legend.
Exactly. And at the moment, everyone takes it that way. He writes a third poem. This set is complete. The party is a massive success. Yang Guifei is toasting Li Bai with a glass cup. Li Bai is the hero.
Everything is perfect. He has the emperor's favor, the consort's admiration, and he's the most famous man in the empire. But now we have to change the lighting. The music fades out. Enter the villain.
Gao Lishi.
Gao Lishi is the powerful eunuch who's been hovering in the background this whole time, and he has a grudge, right?
A massive one. The text alludes to a previous incident where Li Bai actually made Gao Lishi pull off his boots.
Which, for a man of Gao Lishi's power, is a humiliation.
It's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Gao Lishi sees Li Bai rising in power, getting tight with the emperor, and he thinks, if this guy gets a real government position, I am finished. He needs to destroy him.
But he can't just attack Li Bai because the emperor loves him, so he goes after the art.
He waits. A few days later, he finds Yang Guifei alone, humming the new song. And he puts on a performance. He acts shocked. He says, I thought you, of all people, would hate this song. Why are you singing it?
That is such a classic manipulator move. I'm just looking out for you.
Exactly. Yang Guifei is confused. She asks, what's there to be angry about? And Gao Lishi drops the poison. He focuses entirely on that one line. Poor Feian.
So how does he twist it? Because to me, comparing her to a famous beauty sounds nice.
He uses two angles. The first is body image. This is crucial to understanding Tang aesthetics. Zhao Feian was famous for being incredibly slender, almost frail. Legend said she was so light she could dance on a palm and be blown away by the wind.
Okay. And Yang Guifei.
Yang Guifei was famous for the opposite. She established the plump beauty standard of the High Tang. She was full-figured, curvy, and apparently she was a little self-conscious about it.
Ah. And had the emperor ever commented on that?
Yes. The text mentions the emperor had previously teased her, joking, well, if the wind blows, you certainly won't be blown away.
Ouch. Okay, so that's a sore spot.
A very sore spot. So Gao Lishi whispers in her ear, Li Bai is comparing you to Feian to mock your weight.
Yeah.
It's satire. He's calling you fat.
That is vicious. And brilliant. What's the second angle?
Infidelity. Zhao Feian was notorious for having a scandalous secret affair that brought shame to the Han court.
I see.
So Gao Lishi implies, by invoking Feian, Li Bai is secretly hinting at the rumors about you and An Lushan.
Wow. So he takes a line that meant you're naturally beautiful and twists it into you're fat and you're cheating.
And because it targets her deepest insecurities, she believes it instantly. The source says, little people slander touches a sore spot. Her attitude flips 180 degrees.
So what does the fallout look like? Does she demand his head?
It's subtler than that, which makes it worse. It's a blockade. Li Bai expects a promotion. But every time the emperor brings up Li Bai's name for an official post, Yang Guifei intervenes.
And what does she say?
She says, that man is arrogant, he has no manners, he's not fit for office.
And the emperor is stuck.
He's trapped. He loves Li Bai, but he can't fight his favorite consort on this.
Okay.
So he just stops calling. The invitations to the inner palace stop. The wine stops flowing.
That is the worst kind of firing. The slow ghosting.
Li Bai isn't stupid. He realizes he's been sabotaged.
Yeah.
He tries to save face by asking to retire to go back to being a wanderer.
But the emperor refuses.
He denies the request initially because he doesn't want to admit what's happening,
Yeah.
but eventually Li Bai is just pushed out.
He goes back to the tavern.
He goes back to the tavern. His political ambitions are crushed. And the irony is, the poems that destroyed him became the most celebrated lyrics of the dynasty. We are still reading them 1,300 years later.